Good evening. I've just watched the news now, ENCA here, and they're giving feedback on the so-called religious summit. There was a meeting today at Rhema there, and we can see that they are silently counter arguing on issues we brought up. Let us be clear on one thing. Regarding what we believe, let's put that to the side. Regarding what we believe, I do not need to belong to practice that. We've said it very clear. I have a right to believe what I believe in, and I don't have to be institutionalized. I don't have to belong to any committee. I don't have to belong to any structure. I don't have to belong to any group of people to practice that. I could be the only person who believes in it. And if I practice it within the limits of the law, nobody can clamp down on me. Let's be very honest with that. We've said it then and we say it now. I have a right to practice my religion. And I have a right to do that within the context of my constitutional right to freedom of association, freedom of creed, my belief, freedom of thought, and freedom of speech. I could only be legally liable for prosecution if I violated, if in the process of practicing my religion, I violate the constitutional rights of another. Let's put that one aside. And nobody, I can't be forced to belong to practice that. I can never ever be forced. There is the danger. I hear the CL Commission is saying right now in the news, no, they're not in charge of this process, they're supporting it. But they're lying. Because how do they choose Ray McCauley? Who chose Ray McCauley? Who vetted Ray McCauley's inclusion in that committee? Who said Ray McCauley is qualified to do this? They did. Now, that in itself is not assisting, it's being in charge of the process. I respect Reverend McCauley, but I have a lot of theological differences with him. I respect Bishop Barnabas Lekhanyan, but I differ substantially in terms of my theology. There are practices in the ZCC which, if I was in the peer review committee, I would never give them a license to operate a church. There are practices within Rhema Bible Church which, if I was the chairman of the peer review, I would completely strike Reverend McCauley off the list of preachers. Please listen to me. This is not arrogance. This is fact. We are different in our belief. Right now, look at this SACC gang. They believe that Reverend McCauley and I are stupid because we talk in tongues and we prophesy. Now, but look at Reverend Lekhanyan. While we criticize the Nigerians for giving people doom and all that, they're giving their people coffee and all other concoctions. They have a constitutional right to do that. But you can't force me to submit my belief to their belief before I have a right to practice my belief. Where I am, I pray. A few weeks ago, the very chairperson of the CL Commission said God doesn't speak. I believe that God speaks. And while she says God doesn't speak, she believes that ancestral spirits speak. Stay away from my religion. Hands off my religion. Now I hear in the news today a very dumb argument. They are saying this committee is going to regulate and address issues of abuse of people. I've said it then and I say it now. And the reason I'm repeating myself tonight is maybe they never heard what we said. Now, somebody makes people eat grass at church. And somebody makes people walk on coals during a Hindu festival. And somebody makes people pray over beads. Somebody makes people swallow fireballs like other religions do. Now, if we're sitting in this religious review or peer review committee, who are we going to register? We need to ask ourselves. I'm a researcher, and I know the tools you employ for your research, they have an influence into the validity of that research. And I'm saying, if this process is going to yield objective results, we need to look at the tools the people use them, who authorize them, the very government that has no right to interfere in our religion. Anybody has a right to go to this summit they're calling in February. but not everybody is bound by it. If you choose to belong to it, it's because you have practiced your constitutional right. I have a right to choose not to belong to it. I'm not going to cooperate with that because I can see where this is headed. We're going to be forced into a situation where one religious man validates my religion and practice. Reverend Macaulay has no right to do that. He has no right to say, House of Truth, which is the church I'm pastoring. I founded House of Truth. Reverend Macaulay founded Rema. Now, that means House of Truth must come and submit ourselves to Rema. What are we saying? We are submitting ourselves to the beliefs of ZCC. What are we saying? Between Rema and ZCC and the SACC and the Methodists and the Anglican Church and the Catholics, as far as I'm concerned, the Catholics are praying to foreign gods. Now, if a Catholic priest stands before me, no, if the Pope stands before me and the Pope says, I want a license to operate the Catholic Church in South Africa, I'm not going to give him the license because I believe he's misleading people. Hands off my religion. Don't forget where I stand. There is no difference between the Pope and the Nigerian Church, Ghanaian Church, the Dutch Reformed Church, the Lutheran Church. They're all foreign churches. The Roman Catholic Church is an Italian church. The Anglican Church is an English church. The Methodist Church is an English church. Lutheran Church is a German church. They're all foreign missions. Now, when they want to operate in South Africa, you can't set different set of rules for Nigerians as you do for the Catholics. Hands off our religion. If you want to participate in the February summit, it's your right, but I have a right. I'm not going to cooperate with that. I have a right. I can see the patronization here. I have a right not to participate in that process. I don't have to be institutionalized. The most laughable thing I heard on the news now is these guys, Macaulay and company, they believe they can clamp down on rapes in churches. Are they cops now? The trial of Omotoso is proof that there is enough legal mechanism to deal with abuses in church. Use them. Ray Macaulay is not a cop. He's a preacher. How is Ray Macaulay going to deal with the abuse of women in the church? Since when is he a law enforcer? Stay away from our religion. And anybody who wants to participate, go ahead and do so. I'm a dissident. I will not cooperate with that process because I can see where it's leading. Enjoy the rest of the evening. We shall talk more tomorrow.